Cohen is a licensed private investigator and the owner of Justice Warrior Investigations. She holds a master's degree in criminal justice, a bachelor's in legal studies, and an associate's in paralegal studies. Heather first gained national recognition on the 2021 true crime series Secrets, Lies, and Private Eyes, and today she continues her mission as the co-host of the Justice Warriors podcast. Through her work, she gives voices to victims' families, uncovers overlooked evidence, and challenges the narratives that often leave the truth in the dark. Tracey holds an associate's degree in business and a bachelor's in psychology. She's an investigative journalist, podcast host, and co-author with Heather Cohen of Swift Injustice, Framed in the Smokies, and author of the Holly Bobo Trial Guide. Tracey brings a careful investigative lens to every story featured on the Justice Warriors podcast, dedicated to amplifying victims' voices and uncovering the facts behind unsolved cases. Get ready for another riveting episode of the Justice Warriors podcast.
Hey guys,
Hey,
Heather
everybody.
Cohen here, Tracy. Hope you're doing good today. I am sharing the link to the Facebook page now. All right, and we are off and running. Sorry about that. Okay, so today we're going to be sharing, analyzing the statements of Bentley Quertermous. Give me 1 second. The other day, I was telling you that in our last podcast, I was telling you guys that the video I had was corrupted. So I got a new one that is not corrupted. And I just got to get it queued up here. And we're just going to jump right into this, you guys. Okay, Tracy and I are not going to speak throughout the entire interview. It's only about 10 minutes long. I know some of you were complaining about the interruptions in the last one, so we're just going to get through it and we will take notes during, and just so you know, this is the first time I've seen this one as well, okay? So this is going to be law enforcement, Dyer County Sheriff's Office, initial interview with Bentley Quertermous pertaining to the Karen Swift investigation. And I have not seen this either. So we are all seeing this together for the first time, this particular interview.
Okay, I have no sound. Still nothing. I don't hear you either. Is your mic off?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Did you at least hear me in the beginning of this? Now I can't hear you, miss.
Oh, you said I was going to keep my mouth shut.
Oh, but okay. So I don't know at what point it got muted, but all right, let's back it up a little bit. I apologize. This is the thing about being live is sometimes it's a little little screwy. Just a little bit. All right, here we go.
Corporation? You work with them or not? I just integrate systems. Well, what I do with them is just a little bit of stuff. I don't have around it with cameras and stuff like that. But the surveillance, I don't deal with them. I didn't know if you did or not. I didn't know if you got it sucked in the conglomerate. No, that's one thing I told myself. That's something I've done. I'm not going to work with y'all because when you work with folks in family business like that, man, her brothers and them, I mean, they just go, get mad at it and feelings get involved, I know the feeling. Ain't nobody building houses around here. So I gotta go up to the lake. Kentucky, somebody building big houses. That's where it's all at. Quertermous. Quertermous. I'm impressed. Yeah. I made that say about 5 times the other day. I said, for some reason, I don't coordinate. I don't know why.
I'm putting this on the Bluetooth.
Well, would you heard it? 51061. Social 405
Hold on.
90160.
Sorry.
That is much
Like just as I got it loud, he starts talking. He starts giving his damn social.
That's all right. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, go ahead, get past that. But with the Bluetooth, that works. I couldn't understand
Okay.
it.
Already got you hold phone. Yeah, sure. Okay. The reason why I asked you to come in here is I just ask a few questions to get it off the table. Do you or have you ever known Karen Swift?
No.
Okay. Have you ever met her?
No, I haven't.
Okay. No, nothing in public other than
No.
the papers and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, just other than what is going on is all I know of.
Right.
I don't know, anything about her.
Okay. To the best of your knowledge, does anybody in your wife's immediate family know her?
No?
Mr. Sells or who's the brother, Dyer?
Darren.
Yeah, Dyer.
No,
Never.
I've never, none of them, I mean, I don't know her, they don't know her,
Okay.
from what, from the time I've been around and stuff like that, so.
Right. Okay. Apparently there was a Halloween party last year at the farms.
Yeah,
Were you invited to that?
I was invited to, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we was part of the
Sponsors.
people that get together, yeah. And, but I mean, I was sick that night. I was at home,
Okay.
sick. So only thing I know about that party was somebody grabbed my wife's butt.
Really?
So
I wasn't there.
yeah,
I'm gonna clear myself right now.
So I mean, that's all it. That's all that I know about that night.
Is there anything else that you've heard or?
No. I mean, and there's nothing, I mean, I hadn't heard nothing, or only thing I know what's going on is what I read in the papers,
Right.
You
ever read that all, any of that stuff on topics?
No, I saw, Darren brought something up on it the other day about it. He was checking the thing on, about the McDonald opening and stuff like that. And on there it had Dina on there. And of course, when you read it, it's like, just a bunch of people get on there lying. Yes, I don't know what it is.
Pretty much.
But I mean, it's,
What were they saying about her?
oh, let me think what it was, she's guilty, that I was having an affair with her and Darren killed her and Daryl come along and helped dispose of the body. That's what it said.
Well, you know the reason of the questions behind the Halloween party, don't you? Supposedly you and her were dancing pretty hot and heavy, and Dina got pretty upset, and that's what sparked all this. So it's kind of hard.
Well, I wasn't even there.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for you to do if you weren't even
I was at, yeah.
there.
And the only thing I know that Dina was talking about, some guy was dressed up as Lurch, was grabbing her on the butt that night, and that's, that's all that she talked about whenever she come home that night.
Right. Okay.
Because I don't know who Lurch was, I don't know if she knows who it was or not, but I mean, it's just, people get alcohol and they get dressed up and they think they can do whatever they want to do, I guess.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hated to bother you, but I did need to get a statement from you. Of course, we got one from Dina and Mr. Sales also. I'm probably gonna have to talk to Darren too, eventually.
Yeah. I mean, it's best to get cleared up, of whatever
Well, we've spent most of this case doing this stuff right here.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
chasing ghosts.
Yeah.
So, but we gotta do it for the defense is gonna bring it up. Well, did y'all talk to this guy? Well, we talked to everybody.
Yeah.
We've left no stone unturned.
Yeah. I just wish that we found her earlier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But, with there's next time, or we'll look better, I guess. I don't know what to do.
We were out there about 2 weeks ago with the State Highway Patrol CERT team, and man, I had to walk out there and find the spot where we had found her at, and the weeds were up to my neck.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
Yeah.
And we still got 2 months to go till the end of October when it happens. So, I went down in that cemetery 3 or 4 times. Chief Bowles went down in there a bunch of times. You can't walk out there and all that mess. Because you don't know where.
I mean, I don't even know where that place is at, as far as the cemetery goes and all that. I don't even know where it's at.
It's close to the cross.
So, I've never been out to the cross. I've drove back from Lake County, we always said, well, there's a cross up there. That's about all, that's all I know.
Right. Okay.
What there is up there.
All right. If you could you get word to Darren for me?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be today. I know they're messing with that new McDonald's, I'm sure. But just whenever he gets a chance, and it'll be about this long, only about 30 minutes of his time.
Okay.
So,
well, I'll do it, man.
Well, all right, man. I do appreciate you coming in. It's good seeing you again.
And anything, I'll let y'all know.
All right. Just stay off topic.
All right. Well, that was short and sweet.
Yeah,
Okay, so the only 2 things I've got is they didn't ask him for an alibi. I don't even recall unless I missed it.
Well, they did. He wasn't at the party. He was at home. So they're saying that she died.
Did he say he's home, or did he just say I was sick?
He was.
Either way, it was
Sick
just
at
kind of
home.
like, it was just kind of, just accepted without any.
I didn't find a lot either. I was very.
Yeah, so there's that. I didn't feel like they really pressed him for an alibi or proof of where he was. And then my next question is, okay, so, between this interview and Dina's, this is the first I'm hearing of Lurch.
No, yeah, exactly. Me too. And you know
So
what?
I'm wondering.
It reminds me. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Did they ever identify who Lurch was?
There was not a lurch that I know of in the photographs.
Clearly there was.
In the photographs, there wasn't a lurch. They just said there was, but he didn't see it. The only one that saw a lurch was Dina.
Well, that we know of. I mean, we haven't talked to anybody else who said that they saw Lurch.
And they didn't show up in any of the photographs, but the sheriff's department did go to the person that supplied the photographs. Not to us, but the ones on the internet.
Jennifer Davis.
They went there, got and looked at the photos, looking for who they thought was, everybody thought was Superman or something, thinking that it was David dressed as that person.
I thought it Superman. Why would they think Superman is? There's no makeup or mask on Superman. I thought it was Michael Myers.
I forget what it was. I forget.
It was Michael Myers that they.
Michael Myers.
That they kept asking about. Big difference between Superman and Michael Myers.
Well, probably, but the fact that Lurch and Michael Myers is, I'm thinking, the same person, because there's no photograph of Michael Myers or Lurch. I think they just found out it wasn't Lurch, it was Michael Myers.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next interview of Bentley Quertermous. So that first one.
And we at?
The frick? Sorry, that scared me. The first one the first time they interviewed him appears to be about a year later. Looks like, from that was about a year after Karen went missing. So now here's the second one, which is going to be after we came into the picture and got the information from Ricky Sipes. So I'm going to go ahead and play that one.
Hi, this is Glenn Cook. I'm a deputy chief with Dyer County Sheriff's Office.
And for the record, this one is over the phone, so there is no video to go with it. So, okay, here we go.
The date is January 23rd, 2020, and the time is 10:45 a.m. We're at the Sheriff's Office. In this interview or present in this interview is Investigator Rick Gregory, and we'll be interviewing Bentley Quertermous. And I'll get a spelling of that here in a minute, because I'm sure I've spelled it wrong a couple of times. Is there if I call you Bentley? Yes. And you can call me Glenn, and you can call him Rick. Bentley, I called you and asked you to come down here today to be interviewed by us with regard to the Karen Swift homicide. Is that correct?
Correct.
And before we got started, I told you that the main thing about an interview with us is to please be honest, and you understand that, correctly?
Yeah.
And you realized you had the opportunity to bring an attorney or representation with you, and you came down here by yourself, is correct?
That's correct, yes.
And is there any reason you didn't bring it?
I'm sorry, I'm getting a phone call. But I know who it is. It's from the prison. I'll call him back. Well, I can't call him back.
Did you need one?
No, I don't need one.
All right. This has been a long time ago. And I know your memory was probably a lot better back then than it might be now. But I'm going to ask you some questions. Again, just be honest with me. Karen Swift, I'll help you out. Karen Swift came up missing October 30th, 2011. And you may not remember the exact date, but do you remember that when Karen came up missing?
Yes.
All right.
Through the news, yes.
Okay. Were you living in Dyersburg then?
Yes, I was.
And the sheriff's department, I believe it was Investigator Gregory, interviewed you
right after that, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
And I showed you a copy of your interview and you read it. Is that pretty accurate as you can recall? All right. Now, when
Stop calling me.
missing the night or the day after she came up missing, there was a Halloween party at the farms. Do you remember that?
Yes, I did, yes.
Did you attend that Halloween party?
No, I did not.
Why not?
I was sick at home.
You were at home.
Yes.
Were you sick enough where you stayed in bed?
Yes,
And that bed, I'm assuming, is at your house in your bedroom.
that's correct,
Do you remember if you had the door open or closed?
No, I don't remember that, no.
Okay, that's fine. Now, you had had younger kids then, right?
4 and about 7, I believe.
Do you remember, or not remember if Dina called somebody to watch the kids?
Yes, we did. We was planning to be out there.
All right. Do you know if she came over? Were you aware that she came over, or were you still in bed sick?
I assume she should come over. I don't recall her being there.
You didn't see her there.
No, that's right.
All right. But Dina arranged that, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. So you wouldn't have had any reason to come out and talk to her if you were sick. You probably would have stayed away from her if you were that sick.
That's correct.
All right. So do you remember the girl's name that watched the kids?
It was Haley.
Haley, okay. She'd watched the kids before, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. So, did Dina go to the party?
Yes, Dina went to the party, yes.
Do you have any idea what time she came home, or do you not remember?
I don't recall. I was probably asleep.
Okay.
At that time frame.
That's fine. You have several different doors to get into the house, is that
That's
correct?
correct.
All right. And I'm assuming, since Dina lives there, she has a key.
Yes, she does.
All right. So that night you were sick, you didn't have any contact with Haley. When you woke up the next morning, did you see Haley?
No,
You didn't see Haley?
No.
You don't remember her being there?
no.
All right. Do you remember how long you were sick when you were,
Well,
were you sick a few days or?
to my knowledge, it was like a stomach bug over that night into the next day.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so let me ask you this. Since you recall that, do you remember what you did the next day or the following week? I'm assuming, would you have worked?
No, I don't recall what I would have done. No.
Okay. All right, the name has come up and come to our attention, name of Ricky Sipes.
Correct.
Do you know Ricky Sipes?
Yes, I do know Ricky Sipes.
All right. How do you know him?
I employed Ricky from in about the middle of 2012, I believe it was, to help with a job I was working on up in Kentucky.
All right. And do you have any records to show me that demonstrates that he worked for you during that time?
Yeah, I've got some records here of what he was doing during that time frame.
Well, let me ask you, while you're looking for that, if you don't mind, what do you know about Ricky?
Well, the reason I hired Ricky was he was on hard times and he was needing a job.
And I know you may or may not know, are you aware that he had a drinking problem and drug problem?
Yes.
And you can show it to Rick and just tell me, but what?
Okay, these are some documents from 09/14/2012. taking list of materials that went on the job up in Kentucky.
Do you have Ricky's name on that as being paid or?
No, I don't.
Okay, but that's what you recall what Ricky worked with you on.
That's correct.
Is that something that we can make a copy of?
Yes, yes.
Are you sure? If it's something sensitive to you, I mean, we
No,
can.
no, it's just, I mean, I think this is just equipment, list and stuff that we used on the job.
Okay, so if it's all right, we'll make a copy of that and show the date to Rick and tell me what the date is, Rick. Say it one more time.
Okay, the date is 09/14/2012.
And that's when you went to Kentucky and did some work on a house up there?
That's correct. Yes.
And you had asked Ricky to come along to try to help him out, get him some money, take care of him.
I'm just paying him cash as a day.
I got you. All right. Did you go up to Kentucky before then?
There was a job that the house was being built at that time, so I had been up there prior to that.
All right. Did you do any work up there or did you take Ricky up there
No,
then?
Rick didn't go up there with me till in the summertime.
All right, there.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
Take Ricky up there then?
Rick didn't go up there with me till in the summertime.
All right, there was also some discussion with regard to, that came up with regard to a poncho that you discarded while you were with Ricky up in Kentucky. Did you throw away a poncho while you were up there with him?
No, I've never thrown it. I never had a poncho.
Never had one?
Never had one.
Let me go one step further. The information is that you had a bloody poncho that you discarded. Did you ever have a bloody poncho that you discarded?
Never had one.
All right.
No.
How'd you know Karen? Did you know Karen?
I didn't know Karen.
Have you ever spent any time with Karen alone?
No, I don't even know who Karen is.
Ever cheated on your wife with Karen?
No.
Ever drove Karen around in your vehicle without anybody in there with you
I
guys?
don't know Karen. No.
Okay. And I'm sorry for all these questions. These are things that have come to our attention. You did, is it, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I guess you became aware of Karen after she came up missing?
Right.
Her name?
Right. I mean, that's all I know. I mean, his name. I don't know her. I don't know where she lives. I know nothing about Karen.
All right, I'm gonna ask one more, well, did you got any questions? I'm gonna ask one more question and please, I'm gonna go ahead and ask this question. Did you kill Karen Swift?
No.
All right. I don't have any more questions.
Do you happen to recall what Dana before that night?
Yeah, Dina, what I do remember of that night, she had a black, she was dressed as a 50s girl, because I was going to be dressed up with the big bouffant hair, or the wave hairdo.
Right.
But she had a pair of black tights on, and what I do remember from that night was she come home and told me that that someone had slapped her ass as she went through the door from the ballroom into there, and that there was some guy, you know, and so, you know, that kind of upset her, and it upset me too about it.
Okay.
So that's all I remember.
I do have another question. I'm sorry. Ricky Sipes, in the past, has Ricky had trouble with being honest with you?
Yeah. The thing with, I mean, let me go into it.
Yeah, please.
How I know Ricky.
Yeah, please.
And all that I've tried to help with Ricky. Ricky, in 2012, he was living in someone's shed. and he was needing a job, or he was needing help, you know, so I said, okay, well, Rick, I said, I'll help you. I said, but you've got to stop the drinking, you know. And, well, you know, oh yeah, okay, you know, well, Ricky, he's real spacey. He's like he's in Wonderland. So I told Ricky, I said, well, I said, you know, I said, I've got some stuff needs to be done at this house. I said, I'll help you, you know, there and have me pull some wire and stuff of that nature. So, well, we did. We went up there, pulled some wire, and I brought him back, and I didn't go get him for a couple more days or so. Well, when I go back by to pick him up, he wasn't there. And I asked around where's Rick at? He said, well, we don't know. We hadn't seen him. So, well, time went by, and Rick come down to the office. My office downtown, down there. Knocked on the door, come in, you know, and asked if I had any more work for me to do. Well, I said, yeah, you clean up around the office and things of that nature. And so he done that. Well, Rick disappeared. I didn't know where Rick was. He didn't come around no more. And then about, let me think here, about 4 or 5 years ago, I guess, Rick shows up again. He's living again in somebody's shed, and wanted to know if I could help him try to get back on his feet. I said, well, I've got, you know, I said, you can come down. I said, I need my bank building painted downtown. Well, in the meantime, these people had kicked him out of his shed, and he was staying over at the Colony Inn over here off of Highway 51. And so at that time, Rick was painting the shed, and I had a job going on down in Memphis, and so I would take him with me to go down and help. Well, while Rick was living at the Economy Inn, one time I come over there, and he wasn't around. Well, I went and picked him up 2 or 3 times over there, and well, I went and knocked on the door, nobody knocked. Well, I'd leave, I'd come back a couple days later. Well, Rick wasn't there. Well, this lady in the room next to him opened the door up. She said, are you looking for Ricky? I said, yes. She said, well, she says, Ricky has been beat up, and he's in the hospital. I said, oh, okay, all right. So I went up to the front office and asked, you know, what happened. And they said, well, this guy got beat up and he's in the hospital. So I went to the hospital to check on to see where Rick was. Well, Rick had just got up and walked out of the hospital. Left. Well, I went back to the hotel room. Rick wasn't there.
Trying to check on his welfare.
Right. I'm concerned for Rick. I'm trying to help Rick get along. I'm trying to help him get better himself.
Right.
Well, he wasn't there, and so the next day I went there. He was at the room. He looked. I mean, they beat him up. He had a big welt on his eye, and when I knocked on the door, he just he barely peep out. And I said, hey Rick, it's me. Bentley. Well, he was still standoffish. He never did really let me in. And so, as time went by, within the week, the guy that owns the Economy Inn there, he says, you know this man? I said, yeah. So he said, I'm fixing to kick him out. He hasn't paid. I said, all right. I said, here, I'll pay his rent. How much is it? It was $180 a week or something like that. So.
Well, that's pretty kind of you.
I've done this for 3 months. Helping Rick, taking him to some job, trying to get his memory back and stuff of that nature. Well, what had happened was he had been drinking, and these two twin brothers come around, and he said something derogatory to them, and then they just beat him up.
Right.
So I've tried to help Rick out several times. I've tried to take him to jobs, and he just doesn't want to do nothing, just sit there, So after 3 or 4 months, you know, I told him, I said, Rick, I said, look, I said, you gotta find another job. I said, I'm not paying your hotel room here anymore. I've been doing it for 3 months. So I quit paying it. They kicked him out. The last time I saw Rick was last year during this time. He was out here at the Dodge store. He looked very bad. And I asked him, and he said, well, that he was living in a tent out in the field over in South Tank. And that's the last I know that I've seen of Rick.
Okay. I appreciate it. I mean, what I'm told is that he's a homeless guy.
He is homeless, yes, he is, and you know, he does, I mean, he'll get a little bit of money, he'll go get him some booze, drugs, space out, and won't see him for 3 or 4 days.
Disappears for a while.
And then he's coming back, and then, it's him. I mean, I know that several people have tried to help him along in his life, good friends of his, me, I know his stepmother had tried to help him.
So he's pretty much been like this for a while.
Yes, well, I mean, he's been in and out of jail. I mean, he's been here some, you know, I mean, that's Ricky.
There was, it was brought up in conversation that somewhere in that time frame, not that it had anything to do with the murder, about with this bloody poncho along, there was also, he bought a set of tires. That ring a bell?
I mean, I don't recall, but I mean, I bought tires, but I mean, I don't know when I bought any tires at all.
Do you remember that, or is there anything, nothing really specific about that?
Nothing really specific that I'm aware of. I mean, if you bought tires, you just bought it because your truck needed the tires.
I was saying it was the day the disappearance of the poncho.
Oh, no, I didn't buy any
Tires.
tires. No.
Okay.
I don't have any more questions. Bentley, I appreciate you coming down here and answering these questions. And if we have anything else, we'll get in touch with you. But we'll go ahead and turn off the recording at this time.
All right. So I don't really have a whole lot as far as like, unmute yourself, Tracey.
I did.
Okay. I don't really have a whole lot to say as far as, you know, statement analysis is concerned. I do have some questions about some of the things he said, and had I been an interviewer in that room, I would have liked to have asked. I think that, one, as I've said many times before, that there should have been something more than just his word that he was home. Any other time somebody's whereabouts needs to be confirmed, they require a little bit more than I was home. And especially if you've got a babysitter or anybody else saying, no, he wasn't, you know, then they're going to go a little bit further to confirm that. And Dyer County Sheriff's Office never went any further to confirm that. You've got Dina in her interview saying a couple times that he wasn't there unless he showed up dressed up as something and she just didn't recognize him. And then you've got her talking about this Lurch that grabbed her butt. Did they ever figure out who Lurch was? Is it possible that he was there dressed as something else, and that he was not actually at home?
Yeah, that would bring a different narrative than what we had, or a different scenario than what we have gathered on our investigation.
And, you know, I mean, it's speculation.
I think it's very likely because they keep telling about that.
Right. But there's no way to say, to prove, you know, they go on and on and on about how all I have is hearsay. Technically, hearsay is any out of court statement. Well, technically, that is hearsay. even interviews, even the police interviews are hearsay, even affidavits. If the person that has, even if it's a sworn statement, and they provided a notarized affidavit, it's still technically hearsay. It's going to be hearsay until it's been brought into court and it's been, both sides have had a chance to cross-examine the witness. So saying something is hearsay is such a very, very loose term, and technically, Dyer County didn't have anything but hearsay either.
There's no there. I do have a few things that I found through the interview. I'm not saying that but you know how people skip things in statement analysis. And one was the poncho.
Mm-hmm.
It was driven, that portion of the interview was driven by Cook.
Yeah.
They only said poncho, poncho, poncho. From the audio of Ricky, it was a raincoat or a poncho.
A jacket or a poncho.
Right, a jacket, which is completely different from a poncho. So they gravitated onto that poncho to say, no, it wasn't a poncho. Okay.
Well, and then there's the fact that they literally, but they literally accepted a piece of paper, a printout of inventory that was purchased at a later date for an install job quite some time after Karen's disappearance. They literally accept this inventory list that doesn't even have Ricky's name on it or any sign of Ricky as proof.
And he acted like, even though that was the only time he said he took him to Kentucky,
right?
He acted like that was the only time he ever gave him a job. Yet he just said he took him back and forth to Memphis all the time. And
then even though they were trying so hard to drive
to steal
now Ricky Sipes's interview is available on our Facebook page for you guys to go watch. And this isn't our interview of him, but this is when Cook goes back, the same guy that conducted this interview,
right,
goes to Ricky after we've spoken to Ricky, and he's trying to drive it. He's trying to control the narrative. And even as hard as he is trying to control the narrative, and he did a pretty darn good job of doing it, but there were little things that slipped in, such as, where he's saying something to Ricky about, it was months later. It was months later when you went to Kentucky with Bentley. And he says, well, I went several times, or I went more than once. I can't remember exactly how he worded it. But even there, Ricky is, letting him know that he didn't just go to Kentucky with Bentley once.
And sliding in, Cook slid in. I think it was Cook. It could have been Gregory talking, but they slid in there. He's a liar and he drank a lot. Well, There's a lot of people in that family that drink, from what they said, from the opinion or facts that other people gave. And right.
Because we have a statement from somebody that knows them very, very well. Actually, more than one person that knows them very, very well, that says the same thing. I mean, he may not have been homeless, but says the same exact thing about Daryl Sells, that he drinks like a fish and gets like white girl wasted.
The other part that is, he talks about how he went up to the economy and they said they were going to kick him out when Ricky was in the hospital.
That is where I think
up there. Why?
Exactly. Okay, so I think that is going to be a perfect example when we talked about statement analysis and kind of the rules of statement analysis in the last podcast, is that people tend to tell the truth. They tell, and you just gotta you gotta listen to what they say. Well, Bentley tells us that he goes the economy. Now, what prompted? And this is a question that should have been asked of him. What prompted Bentley to go to the economy on that day, right after Bentley had just been beaten up.
Not
And
Bentley.
I'm sorry, right,
Ricky.
Ricky, sorry, yeah. What prompted Bentley to go to the economy that day right after Ricky had just been beaten up? And how in the hell? Now we know Ricky was left for dead. And I'm not saying this is true or not true, but inquiring minds want to know what prompted him to go on that day, because somebody who had arranged for somebody to be beat up and left for dead might want to go and find out if he's alive.
And I had that written down, but last time I kind of was, um, I guess, going down doing more theory than I was this.
Right.
But the
Right.
tires.
So it's not necessarily statement analysis, because there wasn't a whole lot in his
Well,
statement to, especially with Cook driving the narrative so hard and
the
pretty much
tires.
telling the story for him.
The tires.
Right.
That whole conversation around the tires, he goes, "Oh, your truck just needed tires."
Well, if you got new tires, it's probably just because you needed new tires, right? Or oh,
No,
well, if you
it's
were really
because
that sick, if you were really that sick, you probably just stayed in your bedroom and stayed away from the babysitter, right? So there really wasn't a lot for us to even analyze, because Cook did all the talking.
Well, we can analyze that part of it though. We can
But I
analyze
mean, it
it may not be
doesn't really help us
written
much.
statement, but it
We
is
have no video. We have
it
no
is
video, and we have Cook controlling the entire narrative.
well, and that's part of the statement analysis. He's not given his statement, it's Cook's statement. So
Cook is giving
that's
his statement for him.
right. So those are the points that we have to realize that are very important, that they were really trying to take the narrative away. And I mean, if he,
So let me read these. Okay, so these are the summaries that were written on Bentley's interview. On September 11th, 2012, investigator Rick Gregory conducted an interview with Bentley Quertermous. Mr. Quertermous space provided the following, I don't know what that means, information. He has never met, nor does he know who Karen Swift is other than what has been in the paper. His father-in-law, Daryl Sells, does not know Karen Swift. In October 2011, he was invited to the Halloween party at the farms and was part of the people who sponsored it. He was sick that night and stayed at home. He stated that the only thing he knew about the party was that someone dressed as Lurch grabbed his wife Dina's butt.
I think they're trying to say that that person was David. That's why they keep bringing it up.
Well, they never said that. They never said that before. I mean, they went for this Michael Myers thing. They only seem to be worried about
I just
Michael
think
Myers.
it's the same person.
So then here's the next summary. On January 23rd, 2020 at 10:45 a.m., investigator Rick Gregory and Deputy Chief Glenn Cook conducted an interview with Bentley Quertermous. Quertermous provided the following information. He understood that he was being interviewed regarding the Karen Swift investigation, and he knew that he could bring an attorney with him, but came to be interviewed without representation. He advised he did not need an attorney. He remembered when Karen Swift came up missing. He was living in Dyersburg at the time, and investigator Rick Gregory interviewed him right after Karen came up missing. Right after? It was a year after, unless there's another one I don't know about. Anyway, moving on. He was shown a copy of the interview and advised that it was pretty accurate. He recalled that Karen came up missing the night or day after the Halloween party at the farms. He did not attend the Halloween party because he was sick at home. He was sick enough that he stayed home and in his bed inside his bedroom. He does not remember if the door to the bedroom was open or closed. He had a 4-year-old and 7-year-old at the time. Dina called and arranged for someone to watch the kids that night because she planned on being out that night. He assumed that the babysitter came over to his house, but he did not recall her being there because he did not see her there. He concurred that he would not have come out to talk to the babysitter because he was sick and he would have stayed away from her. The girl that watched his kids is named Haley, and she had watched his kids before. Dina did go to the Halloween party. He does not know when Dina came home from the Halloween party because he was probably asleep. There are several different doors to get into the house, and Dina has a key to them. He did not remember seeing Haley the next morning because he did not remember her being there. He believed that he was sick to his stomach with a stomach virus that he had that night extending into the next day. He does not recall what he did the next day or the following week. He knows Ricky Sipes because he had employed Ricky to help him at one time. He employed Ricky in the middle of 2012 to help him with a house in Kentucky. Okay, so he's saying he never before the middle of 2012. He had records that he provided to the investigators that he was working during that time frame. He hired Ricky because he was on hard times and he was needing a job. He was aware that Ricky had a drinking problem and drug problem. He had a BOSE, B-O-S-E, packing list summary dated September 14, 2012 of equipment obtained for the residents at 715. I'm not going to give this address. And
B-O-S-E with a thing,
yeah,
Bose.
yeah,
That's Bose.
yeah.
Bose.
Okay. 715 Sandy Shore, Grand Rivers, Kentucky. That was the job that Ricky worked on with him. And he paid Ricky in cash as a day laborer. It was a job because the house was being built and he had gone to Kentucky before that. Ricky did not go with him to Kentucky before that, before they did the actual work on the house. He has never had a poncho and has never thrown a poncho away when he was with Ricky. He has never had a bloody
poncho.
He has never had a bloody poncho that he discarded in Kentucky. He did not know Karen Swift. He never spent any time alone with Karen Swift, never cheated on his wife with Karen, and never drove Karen in his car without anyone else with him. He did not know Karen Swift. He only became aware of Karen Swift after she came up missing. He did not know where Karen Swift lived, and he does not know anything about Karen Swift. He did not kill Karen Swift. He recalled that Dina dressed up as a 50s girl for the Halloween party. He recalled that Dina did tell him that when she walked through the door at the Halloween party, somebody slapped her on the ass.
Again.
That upset Dina, and it upset him about that. He concurred that in the past, Ricky has had problems with being honest with him at times. In 2012, Ricky Sipes was living in someone's shed. He was needing a job and needing some help. He told Ricky that he would help him, but he would have to stop drinking. Sipes worked one day with him in Kentucky, and a couple days later, he was supposed to meet him again, and Sipes was not there where he was supposed to meet him. Sipes later came down to his office downtown Dyersburg and asked if he had any more work for him to do. He let Sipes clean up his office for him. After that day, Sipes disappeared, and he didn't come around anymore. Then about 4 or 5 years ago, Sipes showed up again. He was living in someone else's shed. Sipes wanted to know if he could help him get back on his feet. He advised Sipes that he needed his building downtown painted, and during that time, Sipes was kicked out of the shed that he was staying in. Sipes started staying at the Economy Inn in Dyersburg. He started a job in Memphis, Tennessee, and Sipes began helping him there. On one occasion, he went to the Economy looking for Sipes and was unable to find him. He went back a couple days later looking for Sipes, and the lady next door told him Sipes had been beaten up and was in the hospital. He went to the hospital to check on Sipes, and he was gone because he had just walked out of the hospital. He went back to the hotel to check on Sipes because he was worried about him.
Okay.
The next day, he found Sipes back at the hotel, and Sipes would not open the door to talk to him. Approximately 1 week later, someone from the Economy told him that Sipes was not paying his rent. Quertermous paid Sipes' rent for 3 months. He has tried to help Sipes several times. He has bought tires in the past, but doesn't remember when.
Okay, I have several things. I know you're trying to rush to get through this, but there was a window broken out that they did not ask about the window.
They didn't ask about the window, no.
In the vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Driver's side window is what Ricky said.
The reason I assume Ricky kept not answering the door was because he was scared of him.
Right.
We were told I think you had a witness affidavit that he was
not home.
He was seen eating breakfast with Dina at the table the following morning.
That was in the affidavit, yes.
So
they ate breakfast together the next morning.
Right. So it didn't last too long, his 24-hour bug.
Right.
It conveniently lasted just for that that amount of
Why not
time.
for the party? He was over it the next day.
And the part that they kept going off about the honesty of Ricky.
Yeah, all they were really worried about was painting Ricky in a negative light to discredit him. But one of the things that I've mentioned before that I'll mention again is how did Bentley know that it was twin brothers that beat him up? How would somebody know that inside him? How would somebody know that unless they knew who beat him up? And why would Bentley know who beat him up?
Well, because he went to the hospital to visit him, he said. I get that one. I get that one. But
He wasn't in the hospital when he went there.
not the second time. He said he went there and the lady said he was in the hospital.
Right? But he didn't say, he said when he went to the hospital, Ricky wasn't there.
Oh, I thought he said he was there. He wasn't when he went back to the apartment.
He'd walked out. He wasn't there. He was gone.
He must have met up with him at some point, I think is how I took it.
I didn't see that anywhere. I didn't hear that anywhere.
Okay. I have the word coincidentally, that there was a coincidence of, the whole coincidence.
And besides that, even if he did talk to Ricky, how would Ricky know it was twin brothers that beat his butt?
I thought he knew who they were.
And I mean, there's just so much detail there. It's like how, okay, so he says, Bentley says that Ricky said, or I'm sorry, Bentley says that Ricky said something derogatory to these guys, and that's why he beat him up. Well, how would he know that? How would he know that detail?
I know he said he talked to a nurse and said that he was beaten up, but
why would a nurse? That's HIPAA violation.
Right.
Why would a nurse be discussing?
Exactly.
A nurse isn't going to be discussing Ricky with Bentley.
And the coincidental part is that.
So where did Bentley get that information?
Right.
And that is something that Glenn
him.
Cook, as a seasoned investigator, who himself in his interview with Ricky, boasts about how he's been in this business, he's been doing this for 30 something years. Why wouldn't Detective Cook have had these questions? I don't see any red flags or signs of deception in Bentley's interviews. Of course, we don't have video on that last one, but
the coincidental part is the fact that it's just too coincidental, everything. The lurch is supposed to be a message to us, and him staying in bed, it's so coincidental that he stayed in bed all night.
That nobody saw him because he was sick for just the amount of time of the party, that nobody knew he was home. They never
that night.
They never went to any extra lengths to attempt to validate that.
At what time do kids go to bed? That's that age. They're not going to be up till 1 a.m.
We know that they were up late. We know that the alarm was triggered around 1 o'clock.
The kids weren't up late. She could put them to bed.
We know that, if you let me finish, we do know that Evan got up and she had to calm him down. What I was saying, when the alarm was triggered at 1 o'clock.
Right, because who triggered that alarm?
We don't know who triggered that alarm, but we know that neither of them were home at that time, according to the one adult, the one person that was not a minor that was actually there at that house at that time.
But he got up. That's what I'm saying. She could have left. She could have gone home, and he could have stayed with sleeping kids. They don't need a babysitter for him to be asleep.
Well, I will say a 4-year-old would need, you wouldn't want to be having to care for a 4-year-old. Being sick, I'll give him that, but it doesn't make any sense that nobody knew he was there. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense that she never heard any sort of noise that, I mean, and if he's got a stomach virus, then that means he'd be up and down and up and down and up and down. The toilet would be flushing.
The toilet, yes.
Like, there's no way you didn't hear a toilet flush at least once in practically a 12-hour period of time if this dude had a stomach virus. Doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. Just make it make sense.
Right. There's too much coincidental time around all of that. Too much.
If he is telling the truth, then they didn't do anything good for him by not validating that. Because for us and for anybody else on the outside looking in that really wants to solve this and really wants answers, that's not enough. It's just simply not enough.
I think the second interview was skillfully done to get where he didn't get blamed for anything, but he pressed for certain questions. But then when he was afraid he was going to get another answer, he stopped it and gave him, well, you just trucks needing tires.
And I suppose that Detective Cook never expected for those interviews to be in my hands, you know, or somebody that would actually pick them apart and question them.
That's why he didn't show up for any of the at court.
I mean, the thing is, with 30 years of experience in law enforcement and ATF, FBI, you know, all this experience that this detective has, I'm sorry, but, you know, we're just not going to be able to write that off as incompetence or not knowing what the hell he's doing, because I think he knew very good and well what he was doing. And it's really obvious if you take this interview, these interviews, and Daryl Sells's interview, and Dina Quertermous's interview, if you take these and you watch them, and then you turn around and watch Ricky Sipes's interview, or any of these other people who were giving us information that actually implicated the Sells and Quertermouses, and you watch them back to back, you see the difference in Detective Cook's tactics, in Detective Cook's interview styles, and it's really painfully obvious what he's doing. He did not, in this interview, he did not set out to extract the truth or find the truth or he literally set out to, as they said in the other interviews with Sells and Quertermous, the only reason they were doing this was to be able to say that they followed up on that, to be able to say and to be able to, oh no, we debunked that. The hell you debunked that.
You left no stone unturned. Now that was
no, the hell. No, you left no stone unturned. No, you brought the rock quarry and buried it in stones. That's what you did. Hell. It's so bad.
I do want to, not about it is about the interview, but the part that he said, Heather.
That's disturbing. I mean, you know, we've got him.
You know, you talked to him how many times? Probably 30?
A lot. I mean, a lot, because, you know, there for a while I was talking to Cook pretty regularly, up to the point that he accused me of lying, and then I basically told him to go shove it and hung up on him and blocked him. Told him I said, put me on the stand. I will testify to everything I've said. And I said, no. He insisted that I was lying, and I told him to go F himself and hung up.
Which is what he did to multiple witnesses. And Karen, do you believe,
and to Ricky.
Do you believe Karen was lying? Karen Swift, about her relationship with Bentley.
What do you mean? I don't understand the question. I never talked to Karen Swift.
I know. I'm talking about the friend of hers that she spoke to.
Right. So the friend that gave us the statement, who also spoke with General Danny Goodman. And I remember the day that that conversation took place, because Danny, it's one of the very few times that Danny actually called me, and he was really upset because he had just gotten in a screaming match with her. And he said she accused him of being part of the cover-up. And right, and he was very offended by that. He was very upset about that. And but what was said, from what I understand, is that Kathy knew about Bentley's relationship with Karen, and that they had this friend of Karen's had a conversation with Kathy as well about Bentley and Karen. And so I think that it was kind of like, without Kathy, it was secondhand. It wasn't firsthand information. She said that this particular friend, who I just really don't want to out.
But she did, right, she did testify before the grand jury, the friend, because I was there. I was there. That's when somebody got into my car at the Dyer County Courthouse.
I'm confused. I don't think because this particular friend doesn't live in Dyersburg.
Correct. She came from out of town. Yes, we met at a restaurant, and Tracey was there.
I don't know. My brain is not remembering this right now, so we'll have to move past it. But I just don't want to say something I don't know.
No, I just know she did. She was face to face with Goodman, and she told what she knew.
Okay, I don't remember that. But I don't remember her coming into town. Because I think you might be talking about Aaron. Are you talking about Aaron?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not who this was.
Well, we
That's
also
not who
have
this.
Aaron, right?
Yeah, but Karen never told Aaron about Bentley. Karen told Aaron that she was having an affair with a married man
with kids,
but she didn't say who. According to Aaron, Karen said that she was having an affair with a married man, and he had only stuck around for the children, but that the children were a little older now or whatever, and that he was going to leave his wife for Karen. But she said, and Aaron said that she wished that she had pressed Karen a little harder and asked more questions and, gotten the man's identity, but she didn't. And she said, now in hindsight, she wishes that she had gotten more information, but at that time she didn't. That was all she knew. The friend that claimed to know about Bentley was somebody else.
Okay, I know who that is now.
Okay, all right. It's hard to keep track. I know it's hard to keep track of everybody, but I didn't want you to be confused, and I didn't want to mislead our viewers here with misinformation.
Oh, exactly.
So I want to make sure we keep it straight.
Exactly.
But this particular friend of Karen's was also friends with Kathy, and claimed that Kathy also knew about that. And
yeah, we've been doing stuff, gosh, over the past 2 months. New stuff.
But what she had said, what this particular friend said was that she knew of multiple people that Karen had been seeing, and so
none of that was. I just wondered.
And that she had
Karen
conversations with Karen about that.
Whoever knew about or said that Bentley and Karen were having an affair, if they knew because they had been there, or they knew because they had seen it, or they knew because Karen lied about it. But you don't.
Right. I mean,
You don't feel
I don't know.
Karen.
I mean, yeah, I think there was a lot going on in Karen in Karen's life, in Karen's relationships, including her relationship with David. And I think one thing that has kind of occurred to me over the years is that what you're going to get depends on who you talk to. As far as like Karen, what she was doing and who she was seeing and, whatever. Because there were some people that she was more reserved with, that she didn't really share these things. And then there seemed to be those other people. And I think that there were some people that she would say one thing to, and other people that she would say something different to.
And there
And
was the
I
fact,
don't mean that to be, I would never want to disparage her. We're fighting for justice for her. It's not, but when you're going through, I mean, let's be honest. Sometimes when we're mad with our spouse or with our significant other, we'll call up our friends and we'll say things, and I mean, I've done that. I've called friends and been like, oh, I think, he's this, he's that,
no, you
I think,
haven't.
uh-huh, I have. And then, and I may have been right or I may have been wrong about what he was doing or what he was up to. Um, but I still expressed that, to these friends. And, later down the road, when I find out that, it's not true, or he really wasn't cheating, or he wasn't really, whatever it is. I mean, my friends will still carry that opinion. And that's why it's very dangerous, you should talk to counselors or whoever else about things, but, it's really bad to share things like that with your friends and your family, because friends and family don't forgive, they don't forget. And then even when you're like, oh, I've made up with them, everything's great now. Your friends and family are like, he's
I
whatever.
will hold that, yeah. I have
And I think
no
that's a
idea
lot of
what
what
you're
I think
talking about.
she was going through so much, and she wanted her friends on her side. And I don't think I think some of her friends didn't really have both
Her
sides
best
of the story.
interest in heart.
Well, didn't have both sides of the story. And they and yeah, and obviously didn't have I don't have any problem saying I think the Bonas were terrible for Karen.
Well, it's definitely, there was information on that audio tape between the two of them, and it wasn't Dustin. It was
Right.
what is the oldest?
Preston?
Preston. It was Preston and the bonus. And they admitted he had said that she started drinking a lot.
Right. Yeah.
And that was from his mouth. And he was talking to Kathy and saying that they hung out. And she said that they would come over. And then Kathy said, oh, well, she was drinking a little bit less. She was drinking less during the daytime. And then, not to disparage her, but I'm just saying. And then, um, on the stand, sworn in on the stand, Kathy admitted to having a rather questionable type of parties that most people don't have in their home. And that Karen and then the other woman, she testified about having to cover Karen up because she was laying there, and Bill was standing there. So that was untestified. That was sworn statements.
So we'll kind of get into more of that in another podcast later down the road. Because
With the
I do
bonus.
want to, I need to be careful with some things, but I do want to make some very important points at some point in all of this. And that is that, a lot of the stuff that they're saying that I made up, or that I told people to say, or whatever. As we go back through some of these interviews with law enforcement, you're going to find that Karen's friends had told law enforcement the same things they told me, the same things that they were trying to say that I told them to say or that I made up. Those same exact things that
Only
were
years,
said to law enforcement, and then
years
some,
earlier. Years
years
earlier.
earlier, long before we were ever been in the picture.
When we were still
And
in.
it's funny because I'm thinking specifically right now about one in particular witness friend of Karen's that in their first statement with law enforcement, they're talking about Karen telling them about being involved with something for money that that she wasn't proud of. They're telling law enforcement about the swinging at with the bonus and all of that stuff, and how uncomfortable Karen was with Bill when she would go over there and clean the bonus house, that she had expressed to her friends that, or at least one in particular friend, that she was not comfortable going over there and being alone with Bill.
Yet,
Um,
there's a photograph of her sitting on Bill Bona's lap at the beach.
oh, no, that's not at the beach. That's not at the beach. That's at the farms. That's at a party at the
Oh,
farms. In fact, right. I know what you're talking about. Now hold on. I am going to share this. And so the one thing, my problem with this whole, the sales and Quertermouses didn't even know Karen. My problem with that, and I've said it so many times, I'm going to say it again. My problem with that is, one, Karen was at multiple places that they were at the same time, including Dina Quertermous's birthday party. Why, how is it possible? Is it even possible? Is it possible that Karen Swift was at Dina Quertermous's birthday party but never met Dina Quertermous? Is that possible? I don't know, but it's questionable. And then there's the pictures of Dina and Bentley on the dance floor, and Karen is standing very close to them on the dance floor, facing them, as well as I believe Shannon Lee, I think, is the one standing next to her, next to Karen, in that particular picture. If I have the name wrong, I apologize.
and
But
the
I'm going to share
photograph
this.
that they're all in question about that was taken the night of the Halloween party of Dina's character standing over Karen.
Right, which I'm about to share here. Can you see it? So there's Kathy Bona here. There's mysterious blonde wig woman here that we believe is Dina Quertermous, who is, about, looks to be maybe 8 inches from Karen Swift's face. And there's Karen right there. So there's the infamous picture at the Halloween party that we were accused of photoshopping, or that rather Tracey was accused of photoshopping. Yep, that's the infamous picture. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Tracey.
Okay, I'll turn the mic on. Now show the photograph of what Dina was wearing that day.
Oh gosh, you're gonna have to give me a minute. It's gonna take a
Okay.
second.
Well, sorry.
No, it's okay. I've got it here somewhere. It
Okay.
won't take that long. It shouldn't take that long.
We should know them by heart.
Right.
Yeah, and anybody that knows old Tracy here that can't even take her mic off knows that I don't.
Well, you take it off, but you don't know how to put it back on before you start talking.
But
It's okay.
yeah, it's okay that I have, and I know where that came from. That came from Chastity telling them that
Well,
I
yes.
was trying to do an overlay.
And
And
I don't know why it's so important to, I don't know why it's so important to discredit that photo,
I don't
you know?
either.
I
I
mean, I
don't
think it would have
either.
been, I think it would have been just as effective for them to say, for her to say, oh, I saw her sitting at the bar by herself and I felt bad for her because I asked her if she was okay. Like,
Right.
I mean,
When they
why? Why?
when they
Why
start
go as far as to
protesting,
say
they start protesting too much, and it's like, look at me, look at this, look at this.
that the lady does protest too much?
Mm, methinks.
Yes. Yes, the lady does. That lady sure does. All right, here we go. Um,
And there's the blonde wig. I'm pointing again. There's the blonde wig with the sunglasses, which is exactly what is in the other photo.
it does appear that I would have to say that if that is her, that
She
she's taken
wasn't
her
wearing her.
jacket off.
Right. Exactly.
The jacket's not on anymore. But
Exactly.
we can go through some of these other pictures that we were shared with us. Um, and let's see if we can find old Lurch. Where's Lurch?
I don't know. Is that guy Lurch? Let's see, Lurch, or Lurch is made up.
Come on, Lurch. Where are you, Lurch?
The only one I could think of that even looked like Lurch was that Elvis looking guy, but we know who that is.
Right. I don't think they confuse Elvis with
Elvis,
Lurch.
no, because he's wearing red and he's in the very back where behind
Wait, is
the
that Lurch or is that a vampire?
I don't know. It doesn't look like Lurch. He's got fluffy uh
But I think whoever this Lurch we're looking for would have to have like makeup on and
see
whatever
that's
else.
him. That was the guy that you said is that him. There's yeah, he's about the tallest guy there.
No Lurch.
That guy, Kleiner, I think is his name. He's the one way in the back that's the tallest.
Oh
But he's
yeah, behind
definitely
Karen.
Elvis.
Behind Karen, yeah.
Yeah, way behind Karen. But I just realized that the angle of her down compared to her face in the this shot, that's a straight shot. And
Hmm.
her
Hey,
at the
but
I
you know
thought
what
it
we did just you know what we did just do?
what?
We just showed everybody that we absolutely did not manufacture or fabricate or Photoshop that picture because these were sent straight from Jennifer Henson Davis's Facebook page and they were in this bunch of pictures and
They weren't
that same
sent.
exact
We went and
picture,
got them.
that
Yep,
same exact picture was a part of that was posted on her Facebook page. So,
right.
and it was uploaded years ago. So clearly we did not touch it or do anything
And that's at an
nefarious.
angle too. Her head's down like this, and on the other photo of just her face is up. So there's
Right.
not even a
Right.
professional could do that.
Okay. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. We're about to an hour and a half, and I think we've done a pretty good job of covering the subject of Bentley Quertermous's interview, and not much to analyze since the narrative was controlled and there wasn't. Again, I think the main problem I see is the interviewer.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and take questions and do as we do, we'll play our music and we're going to mute our mics and turn off our cameras and answer your questions if you have any. We love you guys. Keep fighting for justice. Justice for Karen Swift. All right. Bye.
Fire in the hill. In the pines of Idaho, Weaver built his stand, a cabin for his family, a rifle in his hand. Entrapment on a shotgun, the marshals laid the snare. They marked him as an outlaw for choosing to live there. August brought the fire, Sam Weaver hit the ground. His dog was shot beside him, no warning, just a sound. Vicky stood with baby in the cabin door that day. A sniper's round from Horeuchi took her life away. Yeah, the hills turned red, the news turned black, but the Justice Department never looked back. Down in Texas, Koresh preached the end of days. Families gathered faithful in their holy place. But Ross and Cam were whispering to the press, calling them a cult so the feds could make a mess. NBC cameras fear on replay, the ATF itching for a raid that day. Helicopters swarming, tanks broken, children crying loud through the smoke within. Janet Reno's pen made the order true, but Clinton's hand signed the raid through. 82 bodies in the fire remain, charred in the chapel while America was shamed. And the flames rose high, the nation wept, but the broadcast told the lies they kept. The truck exploded, children gone, but one man's face couldn't stand alone. Witnesses whispered of a second hand, a shadow fleeing through the dust and sand. The papers wrote McVeigh bold and clean, but survivors swore there was more unseen. Guided by forces he could never name, a fall guy chosen for a deeper game. A pale horse rider on the radio waves, William Cooper spoke of the graves. Ruby Ridge, Waco, the lies they spun, he warned the world what was still to come. False flags rising, freedom betrayed, 9/11 visions in the words he laid. Branded a madman, hunted, despised, but the truth he told still burns in our eyes. November night, Arizona ground, police at his door, shots rang out loud. Silenced his voice, but the book remains, every page carved with the people's pain. Fire in the hills, smoke in the sky, Ruby Ridge shadows where the children died. Waco burned and the city cried, but the truth keeps living though the prophets died. From Clinton's pen to the years ahead, the blood runs deep in the trails of the dead. Fire in the hills, blood in the sand, the people betrayed by their own command.